Alright, let's start looking at some of the Dawntrail changes for our lovely tanks here. Alright, let's start with Paladin. Nothing has been removed from Paladin, so the UI's been changed. So in Paladin, Fight or Flight has been changed to give Goring Blade ready, which means as you click Fight or Flight, you can go straight into using Goring Blade straight from that. And it's optional, so you can turn it off if you don't want it to. So instead of having its own recast time, Goring Blade can only be executed while under the effect of Goring Blade Ready, which is given to you when you enter your damage phase. So the rotation doesn't actually change at all, but it would mean that for less experienced players who are pretty much never using Goring Blade outside of your damage phase. Grants Atonement Ready, grants Divine Might, instead of granting 3 stacks of Sword Oath. So what happens when we click this now? So it grants Atonement Ready, which allows us to use Atonement. Okay, so instead of clicking Atonement 3 times, you have 3 separate attacks. So Atonement turns into Supplication, which turns into Sepulchre. Atonement is still 400 potency, but Supplication is 420, and Sepulchre is 440. And can you still interrupt your combo of those? Since this is a buff, I'm assuming that I can indeed ignore it, still use it, and then ignore it again, and then still use it, yeah. And Royal Authority still grants Holy Spirit as normal. At level 92, your Senator will get upgraded to Guardian, which gives you 40% damage reduction and a barrier to make it even stronger. At level 94, you get another mitigation upgrade, which increases the effect of Rampart, which makes healing actions heal you more by 15%. At level 94, you also get Melee Mastery 2, which upgrades all of your potencies by a lot. At level 96, your Requiesce get upgraded to Imperator, which just gives it a damage buff and allows it to hit AoE as well. Once again, at level 98, another mitigation increase, increasing the duration of Reprisal to 15 seconds. And then finally, at level 100, grants the effect of Blade of Honor ready upon landing Blade of Valor. To get Blade of Honor, it's at the end of your Confiteor combo, and it looks like a weave that you can do at the end of your Confiteor combo, which does 1000 potency. So the Confiteor combo still looks the same. And then when you click this attack, you will get a weave at the end now. Alright, let's check out Warrior. Oh! Okay, so we've actually got a nerf here. Steel Cyclone's potency has been reduced from 170 to 160 for all nearby enemies. Infuriate stays the same, it's just got a bit of extra description on what it does in its tooltip now. Decimate has also had its potency reduced to 180 from 200, the same way Steel Cyclone was. Primal Rend has not been changed, however its tooltip has been changed. So at level 92 you get a mitigation upgrade on your main mitigation Vengeance, and that turns it into Damnation, and gives you a healing over time effect on it as well. So all the tanks share the same thing, where their mitigation gets upgraded at level 92, level 94, and level 98. Your Rampart gets upgraded at level 94, and your Reprisal gets upgraded at level 98. Also the same with all the tanks, your basic GCD attacks get upgraded with Melee Mastery 2 as well at level 94. At level 96, warriors will receive a stack of Burgundy Fury upon landing Felcleave or Decimate, which can stack up to 3. At maximum stacks, become Wrathful, upgrading Inner Release to Primal Wrath. So, presumably, you would click Inner Release, you would choose Felcleave 3 times, and then you become Wrathful, and then you could click Inner Release again for a weave of 700 potency. Enhanced Primal Rend grants the effect of Primal Ruination ready after executing Primal Rend, which is another GCD after you used Primal Rend. So at level 100, after you click Inner Release, you'll use Falcleave 3 times, And then you'll get a different weave on inner release, and also if you use primal rend, it will turn into another GCD afterwards, which you can click after that. Let's have a look at Dark Knight and see what's happening. 170. Oh, okay. So straight off the bat, Dark Knight's first attack has a potency upgrade from 170 to 180. So for Dark Knight, your first hard slash has had its potency upgraded from 170 to 180, and Soul Eater has also had its potency upgraded from 340 to 360. So the tooltip on Unmanned has actually been changed because Plunge no longer exists, and it looks like it is now Shadow Stride. Blood Weapon has been nerfed to only give you 3 stacks instead of 5, despite still restoring the same amount of MP it did previously. So you can change the settings on Salted Earth now. So beforehand, Salted Earth would automatically change into Salt and Darkness. However, now you can turn it off. So you no longer have Plunge, now you have Shadow Strike, Rush to an enemy's target's location, maximum charge is 2. It no longer does damage, it is identical to Monk. This is the animation for it. There you go. Quite nice, but it doesn't deal damage anymore. So this might be the only tank that doesn't deal damage with their weave. The cast still gets reduced when you use Unmanned though. So Delirium has now been changed to replace Blood Weapon. They are no longer 2 separate attacks, it is now an upgrade to Blood Weapon, and grants 3 stacks of Delirium and Blood Weapon. So if we click Delirium now, you'll see that we have Delirium and Blood Weapon, which allows us to use Blood Spiller, but also use suffer stacks of Blood Weapon. So we have lost another weave on Dark Knight there. It seems like it's a lot less busy. With there being only 3 stacks of Blood Weapon instead of 5, you'll be losing out on 1,200 MP per minute, which means you'll be losing about a weave every 2 minutes, which isn't that big. You'll be missing out on about 1 Edge of Shadow every 2 minutes, which isn't that big of a deal. But yeah, you no longer have 2 separate weaves of Blood Weapon and Delirium, now they share 1 button. So Living Shadow has been given a buff, it now does 420 potency rather than 350 per attack, and the Shadowbringer potency also does more damage as well. Alright, as for the upgrades past level 90, just like the other tanks, your main mitigation Shadow Wall gets upgraded to Shadowed Vigil, which 40% mitigation and gives you a heal when you drop below 50%. Your Rampart gets upgraded and your Reprisal gets upgraded, and you also get your upgrade on a bunch of GCDs as well for Melee Mastery 2. As for your attack differences, when you'll get Enhanced Delirium at level 96, which upgrades Blood Spiller and Quietus to Scarlet Delirium and Impalement. Scarlet Delirium being this one. Alright, so the rotation will stay the same. Blood Spiller will change to Scarlet Delirium, which will change to Comeuppance, which will change to Tor Cleaver at level 96, but it'll still be 3 attacks in a row. At level 100, you get Enhanced Living Shadow free, grants the effect of Scorn after executing Living Shadow. And Scorn allows you to use Disesteem, which is a straight line GCD with potency of 800 after you use Living Shadow. And Living Shadow can turn straight into Disesteem if you wish it to, by using the action chain settings. So, all in all, it looks like the rotation won't change much. At level 96, you'll get new abilities, but the rotation will stay the same. At level 100, you will get an extra attack, an extra GCD after clicking Living Shadow. However, bad news is, you'll be using less Edge of Darkness because you have less stacks of Blood Weapon. And furthermore, you no longer have to use your Gap Closer in your weaves, which means you will have less weaves during your fight. Shadow Strike isn't unique to this effect. Gunbreaker's Gap Closer has also been changed so that it no longer does damage. So only Paladin and Warrior's Gap Closers now deal damage. What about Gunbreaker? How has that changed? So the first change comes to No Mercy. No Mercy now grants the additional effect Ready to Break, and can change directly into Sonic Break upon use, just like Paladin's damage up, turning straight into Goring Blade. Doesn't change the rotation at all because you're always using that in your damage phase, just makes it easier for newer players. And it's optional, you can keep it as a separate button, or you can use it on... or you can have the action change from No Mercy to save hotbar space. So the next change comes in Trajectory. Trajectory replaces Rough Divide, your gap closer, and now it no longer deals any damage. So if we use it, it looks like this. Just rushes towards the target. And you will no longer use it as a weave during damage phases. Alright, so not that many changes to Gunbreaker. No Mercy turning into Ready to Break, and you lose the damage on your gap closer, but that is all. Alright, as for past level 90 towards level 100, like all the other tanks, you get mitigation upgrades, tons of them. At level 92, your Nebula upgrades to Great Nebula, whoa. Great Nebula reducing damage taken by 40% and increasing maximum HP by 20%, and restores the amount increased. You also get an upgrade to Rampart and Reprisal at level 94 and 98 respectively, and at level 94 you also get an increase to a bunch of GCDs in potency. At level 96, your AoE attack, Fated Circle, will be able to chain to Continuum, so you can weave straight off of that. And then at level 100, you get Enhanced Bloodfast, which grants the effect Ready to Reign after executing Bloodfast. Bloodfast then changes to Reign of Beasts, which delivers an attack to all enemies nearby with a potency of 800 for the first enemy, at 60% less for all remaining enemies. It's a GCD that you can use after using Bloodfast, and you can have it turn straight from Bloodfast, or you can turn that off. And it looks like after clicking Bloodfast, you can get a new 3-part combo at level 100, going from Reign of Beasts to Noble Blood to Lionheart, all of which doing pretty damn good potencies. And with that, that does it for all the class changes for Gunbreaker. That caps off all the changes to the tanks in Dawntrail. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to stay in tune if you want to see some of the other class changes, and I'll see y'all next time.